Hey, this is Jenny of Nanakoosa's Place. I am starting a video blog series that I did an experimental first video, which is kind of more for fun and not very serious and not super professional. Although I suspect that most of my videos will probably not be super professional, but that's how we roll here at Nanakoosa's Place. For those of you who aren't familiar with my blog, it was originally called Nanakoosa's Place for Women with a Past, and a friend of mine convinced me that that was perhaps unprofessional sounding. Um, I may end up changing it back because that really is what it is about. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, I have been a social worker, a youth advocate for nearly 17 years. Then I returned to school and I got my master's degree in community counseling, and I worked for a time with an agency that serves sexual abuse and assault survivors. One of the greatest experiences I ever had. As far as employment. And then I worked for a year as a domestic violence advocate at an agency working with women who were mostly women who were in sort of the crisis period of trying to get out of a abusive relationship. Um, and in my own personal life, I've struggled with these issues myself. I spent 7 years in an abusive marriage. I also have struggled with alcohol and drug abuse and with depression and anxiety. And so I've been on both sides of the fence, I guess you could say. And I think that kind of gives me a unique perspective. I'm not the only person who has been on both sides of the fence. I think there are a lot of people who have been through experiences like addiction or violence who do choose to go into careers where they can help people who have been through the same thing. And I think that having personal experience with those issues can really help create a level of empathy and understanding that, I mean, obviously it can't be taught in school. Which is not to say that there aren't some wonderful, caring counselors out there, but I think that understanding the day to day issues that go along with battling an addiction or an addiction to a bad relationship or struggling with chronic depression or other mental health disorders. Um, the things that they teach you in the textbooks don't often address the whole picture. They don't address just the day to day practicality that doesn't go away when you decide to make a major change in your life. The bills still have to get paid, and the kids still need to be sent off to school every day, and the housework still needs to be done, and life goes on, and it's really challenging for many of us to make those changes when we're also still trying to maintain the day-to-day stuff of everyday life. So, that's where I think that if you go into the helping profession, if you have some experience with that in your personal life, it can be very beneficial, although it's not absolutely necessary. Um, so the reason I decided to start this blog is I realized as I was working with women in women survivors, I was amazed at the wisdom and the compassion and the kind of sisterhood that I witnessed among the women in groups and in their individual circumstances. And I think that, many of them maybe don't have an education, don't have what we would consider a high or even acceptable social status, and yet they have so much to offer in terms of what they've learned about themselves. Um, the School of Hard Knocks is an amazing teacher, and I saw more just very simple, direct wisdom and caring than I have in most other areas of my life. So I realized that so many of these women don't really have a voice. Um, no matter how much they may succeed in overcoming their obstacles, they're still very invisible. And especially, I think that's especially true for older women, middle-aged women. So that was the purpose of my blog, is to sort of create a format where I can tell my stories. I welcome guest bloggers, and I've had a few, and I've had people who read and respond to my blogs, but I'd like to make it a more open and interactive forum, for people to realize that they really do have a place where they do have a voice. So I'm hoping that maybe getting some video blogs out there and getting a presence maybe on YouTube or something, maybe we can draw in more of an audience, and maybe I can even persuade some guest speakers to come in, do some interviews, and to give a place for people to no longer be invisible and to have a voice and to tell their stories and share their wisdom and their humor and their strength and their resiliency. So that was the point of my original, starting out on this blog project, and now I'm expanding into the next step. So I plan on doing a few brief video blogs, maybe just addressing a different topic each time. There are a lot of topics that are pretty common territory for people who are coming out of any kind of a situation where you're struggling with addiction or a relationship, or any major life transition, I guess. And so I'm gonna kind of get myself organized and come up with some topics, and I always welcome ideas for topics. If there's something that someone would like to see me discuss or research, or just share my experience, either my personal or professional experience with that particular subject, I'm always open to that. So, always open to feedback of any kind. I'm pretty thick-skinned, so, of course I prefer you keep it nice, constructive, but, I can take it. So, yeah, thanks for watching, and please stay tuned. I will be back soon with my first topical blog. Haven't decided what it's going to be yet, but I will surprise you with something quite soon. And thanks, and I will be back. Bye.